Hello, Augies Worldwide, and I hope the audio is set okay this time. It looks actually a little bit low. Let me try bringing it up. All right, so welcome to the live stream this Saturday. My name is Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and we devote this hour every week to answering viewer questions, either sent on to my website at ke0og.net/ask-dave or email to hamradioanswers@gmail.com. Most people, for whatever reason, use the website. Hello, Mark. Thank you very much. And Mark is pointing out that the Super Chat is open. That's that little dollar sign down at the bottom of the chat screen there for anybody who'd like to just throw a little bit into the tip jar while we were going. Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate that. There's people from all over the world on. We've got about 70 people on right now as we just get started. A couple of announcements. The general class video sticks, the little thumb drives, are available now. So I've got them for Tech, General, and Extra. Now, the extra ones I'm going to stop selling, I don't know, maybe April, maybe May, because there's going to be a new question set starting in June. There'll be a new book and a new question set. The question set is out, and my understanding is it's a little bit shorter. They've eliminated a bunch of questions that seem to have to do with old tech, and they've added a bunch of questions in there, and we'll find out what about. When I am at Dayton, hoping to go to Dayton Hamvention again this year in May, and I will hope to pick up the new extra book. This is the current extra book. This is the 11th edition, so we'll pick up the 12th edition while we're there and get started on updating the videos. There's going to be a lot of videos to update. Brooklyn, New York, sunny 29. Wow. Wales and Florida, Western New York, UK. There are people here from all over the world. Yeah, I am looking forward to being at Dayton. There's always new and interesting things going on. The response to the first video about the reference station has been very good. The reference station, what I'm trying to build out is a station that has "Copy Me" written all over it. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to buy exactly what's in the reference station. The reference station is just that. It's a reference. You can switch in and out individual components and so on. So far, we've picked the 7300, the ICOM 7300, as the reference radio. This coming week, I'm going to have a video about the reference power supply, and I'm going to look at 3 different power supplies, and we're going to look at them on the oscilloscope and talk about the pros and cons and so on. I have picked one out that we will use for the reference station, and I will reveal that. It came from DX Engineering just yesterday. Got it yesterday. So should be having a good time here. Nebraska. My wife's from Nebraska. Very good. Let's see. Sanibel Island. That's in Florida, I think. Operating a personal D-expedition with a QR pickup and a wire and a palm tree. Sounds like fun. Sanibel Island would count for islands on the air. I don't know which island it is, but there's a number for all the different islands. Any experience with the Kenwood 570D, considering one for my first rig? No, I really don't. They're all good. I mean, you can't really go wrong these days. There aren't any clunkers on the market to speak of. If you go with the big 3, ICOM, Kenwood, or Yaesu, I picked the ICOM 7300 for the reference station because it is so popular. Very few people who are new to amateur radio get involved in VHF weak signal work. So I'm going to pick a reference mobile FM slash digital, maybe, rig for the VHF reference station. I've got a rig here. It's an ICOM 7800, but it is out of date. It's not sold anymore. So I'll pick a new one that is commonly available. And we'll pick a handheld. Now, the big question is, though, when we do digital, do we want to do DMR? Do we want to do D-Star? Do we want to do System Fusion? The really popular one these days is DMR, and that's kind of what I'm leaning to. There are now talk groups or rooms or whatever the different systems called, the gathering places, and that cross over. So if you're in this particular talk group, people who are on D-Star can talk to you too. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. D-Star is outselling the others quite a bit. I talked to Bridgecom Systems. Can't remember his first name. His last name is Kahanowitz. And he said they're selling mostly DMR repeaters these days. The FT991 is the second choice for the rig or the reference station. I went with the 7300 for its popularity, ease of use, and the fact that it's a software-defined radio. But that doesn't mean you have to get the same thing that's in the reference station. It is a reference. It's something that, we can talk about what transceivers do, and so on. I'm going to do all the demonstrations on the 7300, but if you have your favorite radio in there, that's fine. I mean, a radio is a radio, right? Popularity of DMR. Do you think AARL will accept contacts for worked all states? Not over DMR, no. For worked all states, you have to work them directly with nothing in between. Repeater contacts don't count. If you're going to do VHF, you have to simplex in order for it to count. There's some people who do that. I intend to be at the Utah Valley Ham Fest. It's just prior to Dayton, so I'm gonna get home from that, have one night's sleep, and then head off for Dayton. The fellow who's running it sent me an email. Unfortunately, he sent it to the question rather than my business address, and so I just got it. He wanted to know what I wanted to talk about. I think I'm going to give talks this year on an introduction to test equipment, similar to the general video that I have on test equipment. Kind of liked it. Thought it would be a good overview. Let's see. Following is, please consider using the Anytone D878UV plus Bluetooth with GPS for the reference handheld. I have one. I have two, actually. One doesn't have the Bluetooth. It's a very, very, very nice radio. It is also kind of expensive. So we'll take a look at that. I'm trying to find something that's not the cheapest, but not the most expensive. We'll see. I really like the 878. It's a very nice radio. Jericho in Hong Kong. Okay. The FT991 is a great radio, as is the 7300. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Wires X is a Yaesu analog system. Well, let's take a look at our questions that we have here. Heard QRZ Web change their double password. QRZ wanted to do some sort of a verified station kind of thing. And They tried it and got a lot of pushback from people who felt it was too complicated. It's sort of like the scheme for Logbook of the World. Logbook of the World is secure. I'll call it secure. Being a retired IT professional, I think that it's a little bit, well, let's just say they think it's secure. And I got myself set up on Logbook of the World on the third try. I know people who have tried to and they have not. It is a sign-up process that involves the league sending a postcard to your FCC address and seeing if you're really there, and it's got a passcode on it, and that's what you use to get into the Logbook of the World. And there's a certificate and all this kind of thing. It takes several tries over a couple weeks to get the whole thing to work. So QRZ kind of dropped out of that sort of thing. WiresX is Yaesu Digital. Are you sure? I have a little my analog Yaesu radio. What is it you have here? ARTS. Let me turn it on. Yeah, there's a little, it looks like a little atom that's supposed to be the WiresX. I'll have to look into that because there are a lot of radios out there with the ability to do that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, two-factor authentication. I use two-factor authentication for important financial stuff. And I use it for Google because I use Google for everything. Okay. Mark says WiresX is digital. Okay, so I'll have to look that up. Because they also had the C4FM system too, which is digital. Okay, now some of these questions, let's see. This one I'm starting with is a Friday, January 31st. We'll see if we can work our way up to the present on that. Kenwood 590S is a great radio. I've heard that. It's a great radio. I was, when I first got a radio, I got it, this is back in the 1970s, 75. I got a Yaesu FT201, which was the country cousin to the FT101. Which I couldn't afford. My friends all got Kenwood TS520s, and that is what I should have got. Pedro, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Jason Everett says he has issues that he's disabled and cannot read that well, but is trying. Of course, I have technician videos. I have videos for Tech, General, and Extra. Go to ke0og.net/training for the tech videos, /general for the general, and /extra for the amateur extra. Okay, this first question is from John Barrett, KC1ADT, and he is having trouble understanding how a capacitor works in a circuit. Let's just draw a couple little things about capacitors. I'm going to go to the overhead. Okay. Oh, N4WYE sent me a question that got garbled. Please send your question to hamradioanswers@gmail.com. I'd like people to use that more because it works, I think, a little bit better than the web thing, although most people use the web. The capacitor is literally two plates. Now, these can be these can be rolled up, they can be wrapped around each other. There's usually something in the middle called an electrolyte of some kind. Sometimes it's air, sometimes it's plastic, sometimes it's mica, sometimes it's not mica so much anymore because mica is actually kind of a dangerous chemical. And it can be a paste, which would make it an electrolytic capacitor. There's two plates. Now what happens is, if a voltage is applied, and I'm just going to make it a battery here. If a voltage is applied, current will flow until this capacitor has, positive charge holes up here and electrons here. So remember, the current flows this way, that's I. The electrons actually flow this way. Electrons are negatively charged, so a current of negatively charged particles going this way is actually current going that way, to be from positive to negative. Now the charging current looks like this. If this is V, and there should be a resistor in here, the charging current looks like this. Okay, it's an exponential, and it gets up to the charge. Now, if you remove the charge, it will continue to have that charge on it. The charge will stay there. By the way, this is something you need to be aware of if you're working on high voltage circuits. These high voltage capacitors can maintain their charge for a long time, with dire or even deadly results if you touch them. Okay, so now if I were to put a resistor here, okay, now the thing will discharge, and the discharge curve will look like this. Would be the opposite of that. And the current will flow this way. Okay. Now, where it gets fun is if you have a capacitor and you have, let's say it's a charged capacitor, and you have a coil. Okay, the capacitor stores its charge in an electric field, and the coil stores its charge in a magnetic field. Now, unlike a capacitor, if a capacitor is charged, it will stay charged. If a coil is charged and you remove the charging source, it will discharge. It won't stay charged. But if you connect this together, and this is positive, you'll get current flowing this way, okay? And it will keep going. When it gets down to zero, you have the most magnetic charge in here, and it will try to keep the current flowing, so it will continue to push current in here until this is charged all the way positive, and this is negative here. And then when it gets to the point where it can't charge anymore, the magnetic field collapses. It collapses as it's putting in that green current there, collapses. Then the capacitor will start to discharge this way, okay, until it's down to zero, and then the magnetic field will collapse, causing the current to flow until this is positive again. Okay, now this phenomenon is called oscillation, and sometimes this circuit that you see like this is called a tank circuit, and it will oscillate at a rate determined by the value of the components, and will that's how we create radio waves. So anyway, I hope that helps a little bit with the question about the capacitor. Out of focus, yeah. Oh, it looks like it got in focus eventually. Okay. And let's see, we've got this next one is, hope you got, this is from KN6AOL, Gary, Got back from quartzsite safely. Yes, we did. We stopped by to see Brad Rich, by the way. I just put up a video about his grounding system. By the way, people were concerned last week that I looked blue. Well, I've adjusted the lighting a little bit. I hope this is a little bit more neutral than that was there. There are time constants in an LC circuit due to the resistance in wire. The resistance in wire does not change the time constant, but it does change the decay rate. You'll have a damped wave that goes down to zero, sometimes quite quickly, and that rate is determined by the resistance. My FTDX 3000 double conversion, well, I'm not sure it's all double conversion, what they do in the higher bands, but it's actually a down converting radio that they did so that they could have a low IF and apply some really tight roofing filters on it. Let me just describe very quickly. Yes. By the way, if you took that tank circuit that I talked about and had some sort of a circuit that always kept, made up for the resistive losses all the time, so that it was always providing a sine wave output, you would have an oscillator. Hello from Portugal. Let's see. And somebody uses his Yaesu FT101 Zulu every day. The Zulu, as I recall, had a digital readout. Okay, this is from Gary, and he has a question about questions. Let's look at the overhead. Let's zoom that in a little bit, so I need to find the zoom capability, configure the video, and we're going to zoom. We're zoomed in as far as we can go. I'll hold it up here. Okay. He questions this right here. Log -1. Okay, the log -1 is the inverse log. Okay, it is the number whose log is system gain divided by 10. And you can do this on a calculator pretty easily. The way you do an inverse log on a calculator, you see up here 10 to the x. Okay, so the log, get all this out of the way, the log -1 of x is equal to 10 to the x. It's the inverse logarithm, okay? And now this number right here is called the base. Radio operator, radio system work is done in base 10. Scientific work is done in base E, which is 2.7 something. It's a not even an irrational, it's a transcendental number. But that's what that means in there. I hope that helps. So if you follow this through, knowing that that is the same as 10 to the x, which I'm thinking, do you find in here? They're trying to do this in two ways. Do it in decibels. When you subtract decibels, like right here, okay, that's the equivalent of dividing. Okay, this is the equivalent of multiplying, so on. Anyway, I'll let you work that through. Logarithms are fun. Of course, I had to work through all of that in my engineering training. And the reason that we use them, get back here to there. Okay. By the way, I hope the colors balance a little bit better on this today. I I found an errata sheet on the AARL website. This is also from KN6AOL. And he's also mentioning that their radon is an alpha emitter which cannot be measured with a Geiger-Muller tube. I did a video some months ago on a little Geiger counter I found. Kevin Laughlin did one, and I wanted to play with it. It looked like a lot of fun. Superheterodynes were actually invented back in the, I think, 1920s. Ronald Fessenden of Canada was the one who invented the heterodyning principle. That is, if you have a mixer tube, you have a local oscillator, say at 1,000 hertz. Reconnection successful. Okay, I apologize. Okay, we've still got 43 viewers. We're going to continue. Okay, I apologize for that. Lost internet for a minute. I was about to connect it up to my personal hotspot, but the main internet came back. Okay, well, audio was better with the overhead camera. Yeah. Northwest England, G0MEJ, hello. Okay, hopefully everything will be back to normal. This is no fun. Okay, this is from Richard Field, who asks, do you have to be hooked up to a computer or the internet to use the Micro BITX version 6? It is a standalone radio. And the answer is no, you do not. Now, note that you can, I just ordered one, by the way. Somebody pointed out they're up to version 6, and there's now an option to get the Micro BITX version 6 with a case, which was a real problem for me. I mean, what I had before, I built it on top of a cake pan, which worked, but wasn't necessarily the best thing in the world. So I ordered one. It'll probably be here in a few weeks. It's got to come from India. The Micro BITX version 6 you can purchase at hfsigs.com. HFSIGS, hfsigs.com. It's about $200. It's a QRP radio, all band. Okay, it's an amazing little thing. You can do sideband, you can do CW. It's a remarkable little thing. The new one has a USB on it. Now, what the USB is for updating the software. If you want to update the software for whatever reason. A lot of people have come up with different ways of programming it. The software is open on that, and you can get new software, try other people's software, or go back to the original software of the thing. Okay, so, and I've got that question, and I got two more of identical questions from Richard. So let's put those over there. This one is from Tobin Dimmitt in Colorado Springs. Came across a YouTube channel. It says his website, geekprepper.com, features a number of ham radio articles written by the previous owner who was better versed. Would like to get some help building ham radio courses. He offers to pay me to make his courses than pay me for the sale of them. my courses are already built, and they are free. Just watch them on YouTube. Again, they're at ke0og.net/training for tech/general for general/extra for extra. The reason it says training instead of tech is because at the time I had no idea I was going to be doing general and tech videos also. So just watch my videos for free on the internet. If you do need, for whatever reason, you have poor internet access, or you live in the boonies where you don't have internet access, or you travel on subways a lot or something like that, I do have them available on thumb drives. This is from Alpha Bravo 1 Zulu India. Thinking about becoming a VE, and sees that the downloadable PDF from April is dated 2014. There's not that much that's changed, to tell you the truth. They send out bulletins from time to time, but that is probably the current download for that. Hello from Portugal. This is from Tommy Clemenson. Oscar Zulu 1, Tango Hotel Charlie. He's Danish, has a license. I don't know how their licenses work over there. He's talking about learning Morse code and practicing sending phrases. And he says he's created a text with all the lessons in it. Actually, I've already done that. If you're studying, go to those URLs that I just mentioned. I'll show you what one looks like. Let's go ahead to the main overhead here, and we'll go to, oops, not the main overhead. We want the top screen. Okay, there we are at the top screen. And we go to ke0og.net/general. Okay. Well, what you get here, the little preview material, and then there's a list of all the videos in order. Okay. And you can use this as kind of your home page, and then go to any of the videos that you want to go to. They are numbered the same way as the general class manual from the AARL. Okay. And now, in addition to that, if you go to my channel, let's see, that's youtube.com, oops, /Dave Kassler. Okay. It's going to immediately start playing a video, but we don't need to worry about that. No, it doesn't. Okay, anyway, this is me. You'll find here, if you go to playlists, there is amateur radio licensing. There are 3 playlists. Okay, and if we look at the general one, for example, you see over here, no, I don't really want that to go. You see over here that all of the videos are in the playlist in order. So you can use either the playlist or on my website, the list that is there. I suggest this because it'll keep track of which ones you've watched. So that's how all that works. Let's go back to the headshot. All right. I hope that answers the questions for that. Here is from Will, KE4IAJ. Are you by any chance going to be in Orlando this weekend for Hamcation? Sadly, no. I've heard that's a really great show. And I used to live in Florida. I used to live in Tampa when I was in the Air Force. And so certainly would have gone then. But from Colorado, that's just too long a hop. This is from Daniel Witz, WS3M. Wanted to thank you for your informative Q&A. All right. He's saying that says the reason that the IC7610 didn't get, I did a video on it. It didn't get all that many views. I think that's because it's definitely an advanced radio. It's a very nice radio, but I'm here to help people learn. It's a radio for people who already know. So I'm working with an antenna which is 40 mil, but which looks like this, and he's got a long video operating in the 902 to 928 megahertz range. I get the feeling it's a Yagi. It works well for about 8 feet in height. When I look closely at the design, I do not see the purpose of the directors. Sounds like it's a Yagi. The purpose of the directors is it helps form the beam in the forward region. If you look at how a Yagi works, and you can find the equivalent of Yagis working, the easiest way to look at it is a water table, where you can see the vibrations go out from the antenna. The directors pick up the signal and re-radiate it. And when they do that, it interferes with the signal from the radiator, and you get both constructive and destructive interference. The constructive interference causes most of the energy to go forward, and the destructive interference keeps it mostly from going out to the side or to the back. Now there's a reflector in there too, in the back. So that's what the purpose of the directors is in a Yagi antenna. In general, the more directors, the better the directionality of the antenna. There is an upper limit just based on the law of diminishing returns. Okay. Audio was better with it. Yeah, I'm about to give up on this mic here that I'm using. I hear that it just isn't as good a mic. Okay, this is from David Henderson, VK2KWY, from Australia. Says he recently visited a fellow's ham shack and noticed that he was using a small Behringer Xenix audio mixer to manage audio from all of his rigs into a single shack powered speaker. The mixer was connected by USB into his PC for power, but also allowed him to feed audio into and out of the PC to the meter and I guess potentially onto his rigs. Although he was only using the mixer for audio from the rigs, the thought occurred to me that it might be an alternative to using a signal link interface between a rig and a PC for digital modes. Of course, the issue of push-to-talk would still need to be resolved. The answer is technically yes. It's sort of like killing a fly with a cannon using an audio mixer, and you'd have to get the levels on that just right because the audio input on the back of most radios is what in audio is known as line out. You put line in into the radio, line out from your audio source, which is way below. Well, not necessarily way below. You could play with that. You do, again, have the push-to-talk problem to solve. I'd go with the signal link because that sound card in there is made specifically for radio. But you could try it. You know, with my old Yaesu FT747, I used to run digital modes with a direct connection between the computer and the radio. And I had a little very simple circuit to take the RS-232 out of the computer and use that to key the rig. It used a grand total of 2N222 transistor. It worked great. I had a lot of fun with the digital views. This is again from Tommy Clemenson, LZ1THC. I've now seen all your tech videos. Look forward to see the general next time. I don't know, and here it gets a little garbled. English is not his first language. Don't know if I can get anything out of signing up for Patron, but I give it a try. I've signed up for the $2 version. Thank you. There are several ways that you can contribute. I hesitate to use the word contribute. That you can support the channel. I'm not a charity. I pay taxes. In fact, I just was doing my taxes yesterday. I pay taxes on everything I get, like a good red-blooded American, and keep very careful track. One way to provide support to the channel is the Super Chat, which is available on this chat right here. Just next down to the little emoticon buttons, there's a $sign button, and you can click there. And if you're from overseas, you can make a payment in your local currency. Let's see. So he signed up as a patron. That's another way to do it. Patreon, Patreon.com and /KE0OG. And you can do that too. There's also a way of doing it on PayPal, but I have run into a problem or two with that, communicating with customers, so I'm not sure about all of that. This is from John Stevens, WB4HZA. Says, enjoying the videos. The reason I am writing is to let you know about an order I just placed. Oh, this is a fellow who was talking with a tech on the air, who was getting close to taking his tech video. And so he paid for the general USB thumb drive to be sent to this young man. His name is Harrison Ross, call signs KE0ORX, and sent to him. I asked my assistant to please put a gift card or something inside there. That didn't happen. And so I got a call from Harrison Ross asking me what this was. So I told him that it was a gift from John Stevens. Thank you for doing that to help him get his general. This is from Jim Giordano, and he says, Happy New Year. Here's an antenna question. We see dipoles, inverted V's. I think I saw an inverted L antenna. Yes. Has anyone tried a horizontal L antenna? Yeah, lots of people. An antenna in which the elements are 90 degrees from each other in a horizontal plane, making it an omnidirectional dipole. Well, it's not really omnidirectional. An L is end-fed. And the whole thing radiates. And it will tend to radiate most in the direction where the long leg of the L is pointed. If you do it horizontally, that will still be true. You'll still get, it will have a kind of an omni pattern, but it will tend to emphasize in the direction that long wire is pointed. By the way, that's true of all long wires. Okay, let's look up here. He talked about the simplest tuned circuit, a fundamental part of amateur radio studies, and it is covered in the AARL books and in my videos. Let's see. Audio is better with the overhead camera. Yeah, I think I'm going to try a different USB mic in here. And if that doesn't work, I'll try the mic that's actually in the webcam. See how that was. Okay, and I may have lost connection with the chat. I don't have any chats past that. Oh well, we're doing okay here. Yeah, my internet went down. I apologize for that. We lost some viewers. Most came back, but we're just a few short of what we had before that. Okay. Let's see. This is from Golf Echo Zero. No, it's not. It's from Sugar Papa 6, Charlie Alpha Lima, Jersey. He's a ham operator in Poland, writing you this email because there is a practice when dealing with very weak received signal and poor signal to noise ratio. It's advice in our club to apply the attenuator and then increase the volume knob. I have some formal electronics education, but this is not helping me understand the basic principle behind it. No one here can. Finding help from Dr. Google did not produce expected results as well. Would you please consider shining some light on that so we can understand how that works? Well, the attenuator is there on all modern radios at your front end, and is designed primarily if there are stations that are too strong. If there are nearby stations that are causing splatter, you can sometimes reduce that if the splatter is generated in your front end by pushing the attenuator, and then you can hear the weak signals a little bit better. If you reduce your RF gain control, which is the same as putting the attenuator in, you're going to, it will tend to make the radio quieter, but at the same time you're going to lose weak signal. So I don't understand this principle and probably would never do it. Now, most people just take the RF gain control and turn it to max and leave it there. And for casual operation, that's actually perfectly normal. One thing you can do when stations are strong, you can back off on the RF gain control, and then the background noise will drop away, and you're able to talk to your station. Sometimes it can be as clear as if it's 2 meter FM. But for a really weak signal, that's what you have a preamp for, to put a little bit more juice on that signal. Actually, preamps, by their very nature, introduce noise. And so if you want to try on the lower HF bands, 160, 80, 40, maybe 30, to not use the preamp because you just don't need it. On the 20 and up, especially on the end up, the preamp can really help. Otherwise, I can't throw any real... See if there's a way I can rejoin the chat. Okay, that looks like it got me the chat back. Nigel, thank you for the pound. Appreciate it. Okay, looks like I got it back here. Optical Man, thank you very much. Oh man, I was way behind on the chat. The chat got lost when I lost my internet connection. Experience with Emmanuel antenna modeling. I have heard of it. Bought a book. I think it's free. You can download it. Been at it all night. Amazing on 40, worked 30 countries with simple vertical. Very good. Yes. Hello from the Netherlands. Hello. Thanks for putting out good stuff for the ham community. Thank you. Yes, you know, especially if you want to learn CW, the best way to learn CW is on the air. Yeah, get on the air with CW. Just get on the air. Get on the air with anything. There's enough room there. I mean, the HS spectrum renews itself every second. There's more there, so you don't be afraid of muddying it up. Directors do not re-radiate anything. Yes, they do. How much harder is general over extra? Quite a bit, actually. It's a real step up. It's not quite engineering, but it's getting close. Okay, where can I buy a cheap dual paddle? Everything's super expensive. MFJ, or you can go to CW Morse, CWMORSE US and get them there. Um, just installed the W6LVP, and wow, it makes a big positive difference. Good. The official DTMF for Yaesu's relatively low ratings. When are you going to update the extra class videos for the new question pool in June? I will start in June or July. It will probably take me a few months to get them updated. Dave lost the chat. Yeah, it's, I got it back here. I'm now receiving comments. There was Marvin the Martian. Anyone have an 857D? Oh, unrecommended DTMF mic. I think it comes with one. Doesn't? No, maybe not. Not the 857. Okay. Look up the tutorials that Callum has done in the DX Commander channel. Yeah, he's the originator of the DX Commander. I'll have to try one. I mean, I don't have one. I don't know anyone who has one. So we'll have to take a look at it. Turn down the RF gain and makes listening to a signal less tiring. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Just did some videos. Tom, thank you very much. Tom Frericks. Yes, M-Mana is free. Yeah, I should learn one. There's also 4NEC2, which is free. Easy NEC, which is what I've been using, is not free. And I've got it. I'm used to it. So I'm using that one, but maybe I should, if for the reference station we're going to have software aids, I'll have to pick a reference antenna modeling program, and it won't be easy to NEC because that costs money. Cheap panel, again, CW Morse, CWMORSE.US, not .com, .us. I've talked with him. He does these by 3D printing them, and they're very nice. Okay. All right. Let's see how we're doing here. Okay, we've talked about that. This is also from Tom Frericks. And he is AE0GQ. And he is suggesting that the SEC 1235M not be the reference power supply. He does use it, says it's well built, but was noisy. Okay, it does not have power pole connectors. The fan comes on when it gets hot. Also has the MFJ 4230 MVP 30 amp power supply, which costs the same. Can adjust. Yeah, I'm a little leery of power supplies where you can adjust the voltage. There's no reason to do that with an HF rig. In fact, all you're going to do is get yourself in trouble. However, my amplifier is designed as a mobile amplifier. It's an ALS 500M. It's a 500 watt amplifier, and it will take up to 16 volts. So I got the power supply because it's designed to be run in an automobile with very heavy cables directly to the battery. And so I got the power supply that goes with it. It's a 75 amp power supply that MFJ makes. And I read that manual very carefully and then just turned it up to 16 volts and works great. It works great. That's a rare case, by the way, because it's designed for automotive use. And the power goes directly to the finals. It's not regulated, whereas in a lot of radios it's regulated. Okay, are we out of time? We're not quite. Okay, so he's got concerns with the Samlex. We'll address those on Monday. Wednesday's video is going to be about the reference power supply for the station, and I'm going to look at 3 supplies, and I'm going to get the oscilloscope out. We're going to look at noise and all of this kind of thing. And then I have the one that I think we'll use as reference. Now, the thing about a power supply is they can be pretty interchangeable. So I'll give you some other power supplies that we can use. The Samlex does not have power pole connectors, so I'm going to show you how we can fix that. Okay, and Bill Ashby just got his extra call sign. Now Alpha Alpha 6FC, very good. Congratulations, Bill. The Elenco 430T, yes. Let's see. Turn mine up to the 14 per the recommendation flex. Voltage drop was causing the radio to complain. Yeah, I was having trouble with that with my FTDX 3000. I was just using my solar, and it was having trouble. The radio was having trouble. The Tentec did not, but the FTDX 3000 did. So I got a voltage booster here. MFJ sells one. Let's see. Mountain Radio. West Mountain Radio sells the old N8XJK ones, which is what I have, and but we won't use that as part of the reference station. A mobile linear, it's a bit rich. Well, you know why? Because you use a hamstick antenna, and they're not very good antennas. So you just throw 500 watts at it, and you can get kind of good results. It's like having a 100-watt station with a decent antenna. Okay. Tommy Clemenson is pointing out that he is a patron, and his name is wrong on my site. I will have my assistant fix that, and I apologize. No one, and I'm one of them, likes to have his name misspelled. And I have a name as C-A-S-L-E-R. People want to put an extra S in it, or they want to put a T in it, or they want to spell it with a K. So I know it's just one of those things. People like to see their names done right. Okay, this is from Ryan, KJ7KVD, related to using frequencies out the ham bands. I've stated a number of times that the Chinese handheld radios should not transmit outside the ham bands, and I stand by that position. And that is the FCC's position, but I stand by it and have before the FCC came out and stated its opinion on it. I doubt the FCC copied me. I really don't even think they know who I am. I'm just an entry in their database. But his question was, shouldn't we treasure the value to transmit out of the ham bands in the case of an emergency? Well, yes, in a true emergency you can do it, but you're going to be hard-pressed to find yourself in a true emergency. Maybe somewhere high in the back country or something like that. But most of the highways, at least the national highways, are covered by cell coverage. Before cell was a thing, and I realize I'm dating myself here. I do have gray hair. Before cell was the thing, I used my 2-meter rig all the time to call in accidents. I would use the phone patch and call 911. And they were trained at the 911 center there to know what a ham radio was and so on, and called quite a few in there. No, I'm not going to change my recommendation because the circumstances that you're talking about are very hypothetical. Can they happen? Yes. Do they happen? Yes. Do they happen enough to warrant carrying a radio around where you can interfere with public service frequencies and so on? No. No. I mean, you'd have to know in advance what frequencies you're going to use and so on. So anyway, my thoughts. Your thoughts may be different. Yeah, we're overtime. All right. I want to thank you all very, very much for only 28 years old. Yeah, I'm 28 years old several times over. So I'm actually 68. Okay, yeah, the cheap ham 200 watts yeah, you have to get a little bit better version. And I don't know what antenna he had. The guy who sold this to me had totally gotten out of ham radio. It had been in the garage for about 10 years just sitting there. And he wanted to know if I wanted it and named a price. I said, I'll be right over. And picked that thing up. It worked. I actually connected it to my station battery to see if it would work. It did. I did manage to pop a fuse on CW. But then my wife purchased for me as a gift the power supply for the antenna, or for the amp, which cost me more than the amp, or cost her more than the amp. Okay, well, I'm 34 and remember life before cell phones. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all very much for coming. Thank you for those who contributed to Super Chat. Thank you all for being Augies. Check out let's see, it would be dcasler.com, dcasler.com/support for various ways that you can support the station if you would like to. If you don't or can't or think that these things should be free, great. I love you. I'm with you. Do it. Don't feel the tiniest bit of guilt if you can't do it. But the support is very greatly appreciated. So I will see you next week on the 22nd at noon Mountain Standard Time, which is 1900 UTC. And until then, 73.